This all started back in late 2011. My family was just torn apart by my grandmother's passing in late March from old age. My family grieving, we started using Ouija board my stepmother had to speak with the dead. We never really got what we asked for, just a few mischievous spirits. We thought nothing of it, so we stopped for a while, but had little things happen. It wasn't really anything of note, just things disappearing then turning up somewhere else. My cousin took an interest in this type of stuff too, and even helped me out a lot. She has been my best friend since we started seeing each other. One day, my cousin is going to a cemetery to do a little ghost hunt. After we picked her up, she told me about her experience. One of her friends brought a Ouija board. She didn't touch it, but observed everything. She said they came into contact with a demon called Zozo. She said it made her feel like she was being watched. They heard noises and got hit a few times, so they decided to leave, and from what I know, they didn't say goodbye. They ran as fast as they could, getting the feeling that someone was chasing them. One of her friends actually got levitated off the ground 5 feet into the air while he was running, and another got thrown into an empty grave. They eventually got out of the cemetery and had us pick her up. Back at my cousin's place, things started to happen. She will feel like she's being watched while she sleeps. One night, she heard her sister come into her room to ask her a question, even saying her name in her little sister's voice. My cousin, trying to sleep, just asked, "What?" with no reply but still feeling of her being watched. She asks a few more times until she turns to find no one there. She gets up to check her little sister's room to find her fast asleep. Other nights, she said she could see a black figure watching her as she tries to sleep. A few nights later, she hears the shower turn on then turn off, and the sound of wet feet walking across the floor into her room to just stand there. The shower in that bathroom next to her room doesn't work. The footsteps go back into the bathroom. She hears nothing, then suddenly scratching on the wall that's on the other side of her headboard. That scratching got louder and louder, then finally dropped to silence. The next morning, she got up to find a long, deep black strand of hair in the bathroom. No one in the house has hair that long or even black hair. She told me about it and I thought I should try to communicate with that. We got the Ouija board out and was talking to it. It seemed nice at first, but it soon started pretending to be past loved ones. We found out that it could read our minds and it could prove it. It started acting like a dickhead and was insulting all of us, calling us every name in the book. You could feel the tension in the room growing as it went on. We tried saying goodbye, but it just wouldn't go away. It told me that I was going to die in a car accident at age 17. None of us even asked any questions. It was just saying things on its own. We finally got it to say goodbye and stopped. About a week later, the basement flooded, so me, my stepsister were forced to sleep in the back room of the garage. At night in the garage, I was telling her about my cousin's experience in the cemetery and said its name. Almost in an instant, this dark presence filled the room. It was like a monster was watching us, and it was just a matter of time before it attacked. We didn't feel safe at all. It felt like the entity itself was in the garage. I felt that it was moving around in there. We could hear things getting shoved around. Then all of a sudden, we hear scratching on the wall that separated us from the garage. I don't know how, but I knew exactly where it was in there. Like I mapped out the garage in my head and could see where it was at. The door that separated us from the garage had a window that was covered with newspaper taped onto it. I went over to it and peeled off a tiny bit of the newspaper to see in the garage. It was dark and I could barely make out much, but I did see a shadow that seemed to stand out in the darkness. It was a figure standing there with a hunched back, and all I could see was his figure, no eyes or any features I could make out, just darkness. As I stand there waiting for it to move, I got the feeling that it knew I could see it, and all it did was stare back at me. I told my stepsister, and she looked out the window and said she couldn't see anything. I looked back out and the figure was gone, but I could feel it was still in there. It actually felt like it was right up on the door, but ducked down so we couldn't see it. We had to get out. The thought of that seemed to stir the creature up. It moved more around the garage like it couldn't wait for us to try. We went over to the other door that led to the tool hallway, but we heard it run to the other side of the door. We stopped and could feel it watching for us to open the door. We didn't know what to do. It felt hopeless. I sat on the bed trying to come up with an idea on how to get out because my dad didn't answer my text to come out here with the Indian cleansing kit. I looked across the window that had been boarded up and could see the creature staring at me. It's like it put its head through the plywood. I didn't see it physically. It's like my mind mapped out an image of it so I could see where it was at and what it looks like. It looked like a mix between the werewolf from Harry Potter and Zool from Ghostbusters. I couldn't move as it was staring at me. It stared at me with its red eyes. They looked as if they were glowing, but no light came from them at all. It went back into the garage when my dad opened the door to the tool hallway from outside. Dad came in with a wooden box full of cleansing tools. He said he could feel it in here too and opened the box. He took out a little branch of sage and gave one to both of us. He took an ashtray out and burned a piece of charcoal, then put some frankincense in it. We carried it around the garage and blessed everything. The cleansing did its job and got rid of it, for now. Me and my stepsister moved back into the basement after the flood was taken care of, and everything seemed fine. I had a few cases of sleep paralysis, but not every night. I thought nothing of it. A few days later, my bed broke and I needed another one. I remembered there was a bed in the garage, so I went in there to get it with my little half-brother. In the garage, I felt its presence, but it wasn't as strong as it was before, so I just ignored it. I wanted nothing to do with it at all. My half-brother asked me what happened to it. I only replied it with, "It's gone." Later that day, about an hour after we finished moving my bed, my mom called. She said the dog was having seizures uncontrollably. She ended up having constant seizures for 2 days straight at the vet. I knew this had something to do with the thing in my garage. I told my dad about it and he believed me, so we got ourselves all Ghostbustered up. Each of us had a flashlight, digital camera that could do video, 2 digital camcorders, 8mm camcorder, K2 meter, digital EMF, temperature gun, voice recorder on my dad's phone, and sage. Me, my dad, my stepsister, and half-brother went into the garage. When we opened the door, this thick, dark feeling knocked us back a little. We entered and closed the door behind us. It was in there with us. We could feel it. It's like it could control our fear. We went into the back room where we tried to communicate with it to try to find out why it was haunting us. We got no answer. We tried to use the K2 meter, but it just kept lighting up uncontrollably as if it was angry, which was the feeling it gave off. It wasn't doing much at all, and we were kind of disappointed. We lit the sage and started blessing the garage again, but it didn't seem to incite any reaction. We were calling it out, saying it had no right to be here, etc. We made our way to the door with the window, then ripped the rest of the newspaper off. We entered the door into the garage and blessed it a little more. We went back into the back room and went over the recording, and so far nothing but a few orbs. Then we went over the voice recording. It started out with our questions, which we got no answers to, but when we started calling it out, it started roaring like a lion, but with a deeper, more sinister vibe. We all looked at each other, trying to debunk the noise, but couldn't. We decided that it was time to leave, so we packed everything back up and were ready to head back to the house. My dad realizes he had left some sage on the desk just outside the door with the window in the garage. I didn't think much of it until I looked out the window of the door. I noticed the face of that thing through the window and was stunned. I couldn't move or say anything. It just stared at me, then looked down at my dad as he opened the door. Then I see the thing slam the door on him, knocking him back. He looked at me wondering what just happened and didn't even notice the thing was staring at him. He tried opening it again and it slammed the door again, knocking him further back. Next, he stepped back to knock the door open, but that thing grabbed the door, ripped it off its hinges, and threw it almost 10 feet away while my dad was charging at the door to get it opened. My dad didn't stop in time and fell into the garage, hurting his arm. My dad asked if I seen what just happened, and I told him what I saw. He asked me why I didn't say anything, and I told him. That terrified all of us, but left us with another question. If it had that much power, why didn't it use it to do something more effective? We went back inside, the voice recording got deleted somehow, all the memory or footage we got disappeared, and the hard drive in my laptop was fried. We don't have any proof anymore, other than what we remember. The house got sold cause my dad moved to a property for his retirement, but I know that thing is still in there. I don't know why, but it seems like it's trapped in there. Sometimes we encounter it, but it's never as powerful as it was in the garage. To this day, me and my cousin drive by the house and have a strong feeling that it's in there watching us. It seems to be kind of attached to me and my cousin. I've had more encounters with that, but that is best saved for another story. Hello everyone, I hope you will enjoy the story, and if you did, please show some love for Tom for submitting this extremely spooky story. Tom, I do apologize for publishing your story so late, but it couldn't be helped because of all the other stories that were submitted before yours. I thank you for your understanding. Also, my new mic and setup is finalized and I do think the narration sounds better. What do you think? Please do let me know in the comment section. Please share, like, and comment to support this channel. Your interaction and participation in the videos are what continues to grow this channel, therefore it's what keeps me going. So, thanks for watching, and as always, stay safe.